I can't do it on my guitar.
Why is it every single time?
But, welcome to the 6-4 Podcast, episode number 3. I'm Sebastian Juan Carlos Cruz Martinez Lopez de la Rosa III. This is Leah. And yeah, I just had my guitar out and put it away, so that's why I didn't actually do it on the guitar. Little intro, but take care, brush your hair. Love you guys. Anyways, getting on with the podcast. So the other day, Leah and I are at Cru, which is campus ministry.
Mm-hmm.
For all y'all who are wondering what Cru is, but basically.
I have to bring it up.
You gotta bring it up. Okay.
Let me restart.
Settle down.
Not
settle
restart,
down.
But let me.
She'll do a better job of explaining this whole concept better than I will. It's basically like a shower thought, but like it's low-key a trippy one, so we thought it'd be interesting to talk about on the podcast.
Okay. I don't know. Me and my dad were driving somewhere and the radio was on, and they were talking about how like every time you think a thought, or like if someone's telling you a story,
Yeah.
do you like imagine the pictures and like the story going on, or do you just like
Listen.
not, and like your mind's blank, but like you're listening to the story?
No, I like try and picture it.
Do you you picture it?
Yeah,
That's
like
what
I feel like
I was saying I picture it, and like my dad was like, yeah, I picture, like, how do you not picture it? And then everyone else was like, or they were talking about how like some people just don't, like, that's like something that some people don't.
Like in my head, I feel like I'm like watching the story unfold.
That's what I'm saying. Like if they're explaining it, some people just don't see anything in their brain, or like don't picture anything. Like I like see it vividly in my brain.
Yeah. Have you heard of that thing too, where like some people think like, you know how like when you think, you like think in words? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Like if I think of a sentence, I think of like the words in that sentence.
Yes.
There's people that think like with the objects.
I feel like I don't know what I do. I feel like I would have to think about it and then think about what I'm thinking about.
There's like,
That
that's
just
so
doesn't work
weird.
for me.
But
Anyway.
Dude, that probably affects how people think of you. No, like
That's supposed to be.
no, like hear me out. Like so, like say you have a sentence or something like the red cat. Like you think of like
A picture of a red cat.
Do you think of a picture of a red cat, or do you just think of like?
I think of the picture.
I think.
Because when you said that,
I mean, like I guess I think of the picture, but like, I don't know. Some
I
people.
don't see like the words "the red cat" in my brain. I just saw the picture.
I don't see the words either, but I don't know.
I'm so confused.
I don't know.
Anyway.
Apparently, some people think in like pictures versus other people think in like sentences. I've heard that before.
Interesting.
Have you heard that before, or am I just making this up?
I mean, you might have heard it. I don't know. I don't know what you've heard.
That's fair. Okay, I'm gonna figure this out, and then you can explain the story.
So, my dad and I heard that on the radio, how like some people think of a story and like they see the pictures, but then I thought I've kept thinking about that ever since I heard it the first time. But then at Cru,
I found it.
Okay, you can go, and then I'll finish my story.
Okay, so basically, people can experience inner thoughts through emotion, sound, imagery, feeling, and text. So, if I were to say the word dog, you would either think one of three things. A picture of a dog, the word dog would pop in your head like D-O-G, D-O-double-G, Snoop, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Or you would hear a voice saying dog.
I thought of a picture.
I thought of a picture as well.
That's weird.
But apparently that's a thing.
I don't like thinking about that.
Yeah,
I
like
thinking about the thoughts that I'm thinking
or like
about
that thing where people don't have an inner monologue.
At all?
At
Yes,
all.
because that's okay. So that's what we were talking about. So at Cru,
Perfect!
he was talking about how, I literally texted Sebastian this whole paragraph, and I said like, I'm only texting you this so I don't forget.
It literally
to
made no
talk about
sense
it.
when I read it.
And his phone started buzzing in the middle of Cru because like the guy was like preaching and like talking. His phone
And then
just
the dude
started
in
going
front
off.
of me starts reaching into his pocket because he thought it was his phone.
It was so funny.
So yeah,
But
just
this-
a social violation of sorts here.
Sebastian like looked at his phone and I was like, it's literally me texting you,
Yeah.
so don't look at it. But I said I heard on the radio, blah 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 blah. And then at Cru, we talked about how our souls that we have, like when you think a thought or you hear a story and you're hearing, or like you read something and you hear your voice saying it, that's like your soul in your mind. Like that's literally like your soul talking and like reading the sentence that you're reading in your brain.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Like I was talking to my friend about this. Every time they text me something, I read it in their voice. I don't like read it in my voice reading it. doesn't make sense. I don't read it and then hear my voice saying it in my head. I hear their voice saying it. But, like, if... You know how many people you know and, like, how many people you text? How do you remember all those people's voices? Like, do you know... I feel like that's just, like...
That's a lot.
It's, like, trippy to think about. I don't
Yeah.
like it. It's weird.
Like, how much memory do we got?
Dude, what if, like... You know how, like, your phone, like, runs out of storage? Does your brain just, like, run out of storage?
Do you think that if you memorize enough people's voices, the very first person that you memorize their voice, would you forget it? The first voice that you probably heard is your parents. But you're not forgetting your parents. So then it would be whoever you listen to.
How do you know that you're not going to forget your parents?
You just...
That's weird. Keep going.
There's just no way you do, though. Because, like... You know, like, there's just a part in the dog.
Dude, I was watching TikTok, as one does.
Yeah.
And...
One does. What?
It was...
Okay, 45-year-old English, as one does.
This is dumb.
And Morgan Freeman. As one does.
I don't remember who it was or, like, whatever, but she was talking about her sister. Like, okay, there's two girls, okay? Well, 3 girls. There's 3 girls. One's a cousin of these 2 girls.
Uh-huh.
One of the girls, the older sister out of the 2,
Yeah.
passed away.
Yeah.
At, like, I don't know. She was like 14, and the other girl was like 9.
Yeah.
The 14-year-old passed away.
Yeah.
And the 9-year-old is now, like, I don't know, 17.
Uh-huh.
And the cousin's, like, 20-something. And she's like, do you remember my sister?
Yeah.
Because I think I'm starting to forget her voice. Like, how do you...
That is
'cause,
weird.
Like, obviously you're not going to remember, like, you're going to have memories of them, but, like, I don't know if you're... How would you be able to,
Remember what they sound like.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you haven't heard their voice in, what is that, 5 years?
Yeah.
Well, no, that's more than 5 years, but... 8 years? You haven't heard their voice in 8 years. How do you remember that?
Dude, okay, here, I just thought of a crazy one. What if the voice of other people is not actually their other voice? What if it's your voice imitating their voice?
That did not make sense to me whatsoever.
So you know when you're like reading a text and you read it in someone else and like you hear their voice?
But it's not actually their voice?
Like what if it's your voice in your head imitating their voice?
I mean, it's basically what it is. Oh, like me actually trying to...
Yes.
Oh.
But it like actually comes out the right way in your head.
I don't know.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you're following.
Yes.
But like, I don't know if that, like...
This is a very confusing episode. Sorry.
This is philosophy at the dub.
And then I was thinking about this too when we were talking about like your souls being like the voice in your head and everything.
Yeah.
Like, what if you say something, but the way you hear it is not the same way as somebody else hears it?
What do you mean? Like the way
like,
that...
okay, you know how...
Give me an example.
You know how you say something and you hear your voice when you talk?
Yeah.
But then you know how like you record yourself talking for something and you
It
listen to that and it sounds so different?
What if other people hear your
What
voice?
if other people hear your voice a different way than both of those? And it's just like different. Like the way like okay, Sebastian's colorblind, okay? So the way I see a color is not the same way he sees a color.
Yeah.
But like two people that aren't colorblind are like you're looking at the same color, but they could be completely like the way I look at red could be so different than
the way that, oh dude,
someone else
I've
looks at
thought
red.
of this for
But, like,
so long.
But like voices.
Yeah. I do know
But
what you're
like
talking
and
about.
the color thing too. Like how does that make sense?
Like we say what I consider black is what you consider red, but we both agree that like
it's black.
yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like what if you grow up teaching your kids that like you know how you teach babies and like you show them a blue block and then you're like, "Oh, blue," and then they like repeat you?
Yeah.
Like what if you're like, "Oh, red," but it's actually a blue block and then they grow up thinking it's this because that's what they've known, but then they get to like kindergarten and they're like all wrong. That'd be kind of funny to like mess them over.
Oh, and you like actually sabotaging them on purpose? Dude, that'd be terrible.
Funny. No, that's terrible.
Don't do that. Not good for your child's development.
But
I'm not
but,
even
like,
an expert and I can tell you that right now.
But like seriously, how like it's different for everyone, which is so weird.
Well, is it though?
Well, that's the thing. Like have you ever been like, "Oh, this is coral," and they're like, "That's pink," and then you're like, "No, it's orange." But it's or like salmon, like the color salmon is like.
But those are like fake colors.
What do you mean fake colors?
Like that's not like an absolute like, you know, like coral can like, the color coral like maybe even like a couple shades of teal like that's up for interpretation. But like if you say like this is like textbook green, you know what I'm saying? I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But like, you know what I mean? Like colors
Yeah.
that are like a mix of
But like,
more than one color.
even like the way you said like textbook green, like that green in my brain, or like through my eyes could look
Slightly
still
blue.
different, like still different than what you see. Well,
Yeah.
obviously because you're colorblind, but like anyone else.
That's
I'm
just-
saying, like,
Bro.
anyone who has like,
Bro, I didn't give you permission to go there, dog.
Shut up. But like seriously, like the way I see green could be like a little bit yellower to somebody else, or a little bit bluer to someone else, or
Yeah,
like
that is true.
it's just like weird to think about.
It is. What's another one? What's another mind bender? Dude, at one point you were the youngest person that ever existed in the world.
Stop. Yeah, for like a second.
Still the youngest, dog. I don't know.
Right now is the youngest you'll ever be and the oldest you'll ever be. Wait, no, that doesn't make sense right now.
Huh?
That did not make sense. Right.
Hold on.
Wait.
Rewind.
Wait, I heard. Oh, wait.
Let's think of how this is supposed to go, because that was not it. Whatever that was.
Let me look at
Right now, you're the youngest you
right
will
now,
ever be.
Yeah, and then I thought there was something said about like the oldest.
And the oldest you can at the moment, at the given moment. I don't know.
Wait, let me look.
Right now is the old.
Right now is the
Youngest you'll ever be.
Youngest you'll ever be.
And the oldest.
Oh, here. By Eleanor Roosevelt. Today's the oldest you've ever been and the youngest you'll ever be again.
Is the oldest you've ever been and the youngest you'll ever be. Dude, that's cooked.
Eleanor Roosevelt. Shout out. Shout out Eleanor Roosevelt.
Is she alive? Who is? Wait, are we
Did you
talking
say
like?
who is that?
Are we talking about Eleanor Roosevelt, like wife of like?
Yes.
Oh, she's dead.
How many Eleanor Roosevelts do you know?
No, I don't even know her. So none apparently, but you know her on a personal level.
I do actually.
Shut up. I brought her flowers yesterday.
She's. Anyway.
Anyway.
What's another one? Okay, you know what does not. You know what also doesn't make sense to me?
Harry Potter.
Okay. You know.
Alright.
Do you know what else doesn't make sense to me?
What? Bluetooth? Same.
Yes,
I'm
but
just playing.
the way like words are pronounced or like sound. Do you know what I mean? Like some people pronounce. Why did you do that?
Because I'm trying to hear you out, dog.
Some people pronounce words differently, and it doesn't make sense. Like how people in Britain pronounce aluminium. Like
Or
why?
like, or like Nike.
But like why?
Or color even. They spell it with a
U.
A U.
Yeah, but like
Or
why?
like
What's the-
Crayon.
What's the
Crayon.
reason? Why can't we just
A
all have the
crayon.
same thing?
Well, actually, if you ever take a linguistics class,
Let's hear it.
you'll find out. So, like, hear me out. You got. Actually, how do I explain this? Basically, what happens is that you get two isolated groups that speak the same language, and eventually they evolve into their different dialects.
But I'm saying, why does it evolve? Like, why couldn't it just be
Stay
one
the same.
thing?
Well, your
Like,
kids.
who decides that? Like, who decides I'm gonna change it? Or like,
Well, like even you could probably agree that like I'm sure that if you were with a British person for long enough, you'd both figure out like what everyone means and like expand the vocabulary. You know what I'm saying? But like, for example, like they call an elevator a lift, and like
no, I'm not saying like different words for the same thing. I'm saying like, why do you pronounce
pronounce it
the
different.
same word differently?
It could just be like a slang thing. I don't actually. know.
Aluminium is slang for aluminum. Yep.
Yeah, so I was just going off of my own thing because I didn't understand what you were asking. But why do they pronounce it differently? I don't know. Because aluminium is definitely not slang for aluminum.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe like there's so much that goes into that though. Like it could be cultural, it could be like. the
But I'm
education
saying
system.
like, like obviously you're not gonna have an answer for it. It's basically just a rhetorical question. But like.
Oh, you should just let it that, boss.
Okay.
What were you
But,
gonna
like,
say just now?
Like, even in like different cultures and stuff, like, why can't it just be one word? Like,
why isn't there a universal language?
There is. Kinda, not really. Isn't English the most? It's spoken in every country.
I don't
It's
know.
something like that. It's like, let me look.
That
Who's
might be
my
some
best friend today?
ethnocentrism, bro. You're just assuming it's English. What if it's Spanish? What if
pretty
it's
sure
French, dog?
English.
French is pretty well spoken. Bonjour.
Oh yeah, give me a whole sentence.
Je peux parler le français un peu. Yeah, I took French 3.
Dang, boy.
Give me that, dog. Shout out, Mrs. NG.
The United States of America is the world's largest English-speaking country. Really?
Oh,
I could have guessed
would
that.
not have
one.
known. Google help me out a little bit more.
The United Kingdom English is the preferred variant in most Europe. Oh wait, that makes sense too.
But obviously,
English is the number one language in the world. 1.121 million speakers. It is the most widely spoken language in the world because of the global impact of England and the United States in the last 3 centuries.
there's no way that statistic's correct. There's 300 million people in the United States. Did you say 1 billion or 1 million?
Million. That's what it says. It's probably wrong.
That's so false. There's 300 million people in the U.S. And I know for certain that at least 50% of them speak English.
Mandarin Chinese is the second.
Actually, I don't know
is
if
the
that's-
second most.
Well-
Mandarin Chinese is the second most. Hindi is the third. Spanish is the fourth.
In here? Wait, never mind. Yeah.
Spanish is the fourth. French is the fifth. Arabic is the sixth.
Yeah, we just became some scholars today. This episode is so like... This episode is AP philosophy, AP language, AP language, question mark?
Mm-hmm.
But not really, because this is like AP multilingual. I don't even know what
How
I'm saying.
many AP classes did you take in high school? And what were they?
I took AP Human Geography, AP Psychology, AP Physics 1, AP Physics 2, AP Calc 1, AP Calc 2, AP Bio. I think that's all of them. How many did you take?
You ready to hear 'em? I took 1 semester of AP Physics.
I
and
knew that, yeah.
I dropped it because, no hate on my teacher, but she was so bad. She was so bad. It was her first.
Yeah, dude, she was terrible.
Shut up. It was like her first or second year teaching AP Physics. And so I dropped it after the first semester.
You know, sometimes you just gotta.
Shut up. And then I took pre-calc, which is an AP Calc, and then senior year I took accelerated calc, which is the first semester. First semester is the second semester of pre-calc, and then second semester is the first semester of Calc AB, which is AP Calc 1. So technically I took 2 semesters of an AP class, of 2 different AP classes.
Hey,
But
gritty on that.
no. Why?
Hit him with the hands at least, dog. Just hit him with. You want to hit him with the falling story. That's next on the agenda. About 250 yards from here, Leah was on a hammock the other day.
Oh my goodness.
She decided to turn into Humpty Dumpty. This is how.
So my RA and I were hammocking. What?
No, I'm just looking at
Why are you
you.
looking at me
I'm
like
practicing good eye contact.
that? People like this. Yeah, let me just. Anyway, my RA and I went to set up our hammocks, except Please stop.
I'm getting dialed in.
Licking your chompers over there. Okay, Rafe Cameron is away from mouth.
Bro, we were watching Outer Banks. Okay, but put a pin in that one.
That story is not getting
Nah,
posted.
yes it is.
No, it's not.
Nah, so this is a joke though. This is a joke. We're gonna censor.
All jokes aside.
This is like 50% of 75% of a joke. We'll give it the benefit here. So basically, we're watching Outer Banks and Rafe Cameron. He's got a buzz cut in season 3. You know, he's pretty built guy, and I like pause the TV or whatever as he's like walking out of some joint. I don't know where he's coming from, but I look at Leah and she's just like sitting there
You
like,
don't look like
nah,
that.
I'm just playing. She's like sitting there, and then I was like, Leah, got a little bit of. Got a little
Like I
something
was
drooling.
drooling.
Yeah, but
Whatever.
so that's the joke. Whenever something goes on, just. But,
Anyway.
yeah.
So, my RA and I were setting up our hammocks, and And so there's 2 straps for both trees and
The
the
hammock,
hammock,
you know?
duh.
Yeah.
And so she had her 2 straps, and her hammock was hung up. But my 2 straps, one of my straps wasn't long enough. So I hooked one hook of the hammock onto one of her straps, and then I hooked both of my straps to the other tree. Like, one strap, and then hooked one strap to the other strap, and then to my hammock. I didn't tighten the second strap. So I put my shoulder in, and, then, went to turn and put the rest of my body in. But I picked up my legs, and the hammock just fell because I didn't tighten the strap. So I just shoulder dove straight into the ground, and now I just can't lift my shoulder past here.
Yeah. Injured bird here on the podcast.
Yeah, it's fine, but it was kind of funny because then I just laid there and Kate was like,
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any funny falling stories? I basically fell out of a tree, so.
Yeah. I mean, I have the one ski accident one. Yeah, so basically I got brutally manhandled and taken advantage of by the ski hill. First time I ever went skiing. So, I'm going down the hill, it's on a school field trip, so we got another hill to, I'm going down what I'm thinking is going to be my last run of the day or whatever. Last hill in the park or whatever. I'm bombing that sucker. Probably, I don't know, 25 to 30 miles an hour. I'm hauling absolute keister down this hill. And when I get over the little crest, because I can't see anything over the crest, I get over the crest, and then these 2 girls are taking their snowboard bindings off, and I'm like, wow, you guys are gonna die. But they didn't actually, because I tried to turn, when my skis came off, and I landed face first into a snow fence. But you know how the snow fence has it's the plastic and then the flexible arms or whatever? The one spot that I hit was literally a 1 foot thick log. So I cracked my helmet, shattered my skull, my dome piece, and then hear me out. I had braces in at the time. So I walked probably 2 blocks to the ski lodge because there's no one around this part of the park. So I'm trudging there, holding one of my skis, dragging the other one along, little hobo on the ice or whatever. I get in the ski lodge, take my skis off. I walk into the bathroom. All of my braces are stuck in my lip. Every single one of them, without fail. And I'm trying to unhook them or whatever. That's not working. And at this point, I just can't feel anything on my face. So I'm just well, on the count of 3, I guess. So then I just rip all of them out, just tear them all out. And then I started spitting in the sink, and it was just all blood and whatever. And then hear me out. I walk into the lodge area because I kind of walk quickly through there just so I can go to the bathroom or whatever. I walk quickly through there, and I'm just okay, I need to sit down. I need some water or something. The teacher looks at me, and she's like, "You want some Tylenol?" Tylenol. It's sure. You know what I mean? What's Tylenol doing at this point? I can't feel a thing. So, but I mean, might as well. But that's about it. That was not really that funny, but.
Then you had to go to the hospital.
Then I had to go to the hospital. Oh no! Oh, hear me out. I ride back on the bus because they didn't call an ambulance. So I'm sitting there, my head's like this, just smashing against the wall of the bus or whatever. And they didn't let me go to sleep or whatever because they were head injury. And these 2 7th, I'm in 8th grade at this point, so 2 7th graders are in front of me, and the teacher gives them the role of poking me on the shoulder, making sure I'm not asleep, and I'm just sitting there oh. And every 5 minutes they would just poke me, and I'd be dude, shut, let me go to bed. I'm so I'm just exhausted, and I'm just trying to sleep. But yeah.
Then you had to go to the hospital. Then you.
Yeah.
Tell the rest of it.
Well, that's basically it.
You went to the hospital.
Well, I went to the hospital, got emergency surgery.
That's basically it, he said.
Came out on top. Well, no, then, dude, this one was freaking wild. So the next 3 months, I couldn't do anything by myself. I couldn't eat by myself, couldn't walk by myself, couldn't shower by myself, so that's a little, yeah.
Awkward.
That's a little awkward, but, shout out my mom, because she took care of me. So.
What was that one story that your friend?
Oh, shout out Gavin Bolt and Matt Leskowitz. Our photography class my senior year, the funniest thing ever. We would so we have my minivan, right? Little Honda Odyssey action, you know what I'm saying? So for photography, you get permission to leave the campus or whatever. So we're just busting tail around on my minivan. Gavin would like always just roll the window down and like shout at these like random moms that would be like walking their dog in the middle of the day. Just like the most foul, out of pocket stuff, like
That's so funny.
just completely wild. But there's this one time where we're about like 5 minutes away from the high school, and there's this it used to be a soccer field, but they like ripped the whole thing out. Now it's like a retention pond or whatever.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, we still need some photos, like, cause basically they assign you like photos at the beginning of class and be like 3 or 4 photos or whatever. Dude starts stripping his clothes. So this dude has no clothes on. Right? Well, hear me out. He still had his shorts on or whatever, so not completely naked. Dude starts walking into the freaking retention pond, and there's like a little like fountain thing in the middle.
Yeah.
And I think there was like even some geese or whatever, and he's just trudging through it or whatever. And then he's like sitting there, and we're like, me and Matt, like he was our other like friend. We're like sitting there trying to get all the good angles or whatever, and he's just sitting there giving us like the face. He's like, just like, oh, so funny though. So we did that. So, he's also just like soaked, and we just don't have any towels. So he gets back into the minivan, like sopping wet, and we get back into the high school. We like pull in. I think we had like 3 minutes to get back to class or whatever like that. So I'm like,
whipping it.
I'm going the speed limit.
Oh. Yeah, for sure.
I'm on the speed limit into the parking lot, and so we whip it in or whatever, and I'm like, our teacher, I like call him over, and I'm like, Mr. Hurth, like, look at this. And then he's like, we were all like debating whether or not to like put it on my like actual like my big screen when I was editing the picture on Photoshop or whatever, because he's like, obviously like we weren't supposed to be doing that.
Yeah.
But like, the teacher comes over and he's like, I thought he was gonna laugh just off of his face, and he just looks at me and goes, dude, get that off of your screen. And I was like, ah. But
that is so funny.
No, I was a fan of that one. That dude, I'm every once in a while like I'll like say something out loud and it'll remind like we just had a bunch of inside jokes, and like that was my favorite class I'd taken in all of high school, I think. But yeah, shout out Gavin and Matt.
I had one of those classes in high school. I had my graphics classes that I took 3 years, 3 years, and it was like. My graphics classes were so funny because it was like once you took graphics 1, then you could take graphics 2, and so like the same people that were in my graphics 1 class were in my graphics 2 class, and then you had graphics seminar, so like everybody in those classes were in the seminar class, so you like were with the same people.
Yeah.
All 3 years.
Yeah.
And we had like so many inside jokes, and it was just it was so fun. So when you print a shirt, like when you screen print a shirt, you put it under a flash heater, and then you do like another layer of ink, then you put it under a conveyor belt heater. And
realistically, if you want to learn how to do it, you can just take the class. But
yeah, true, but I had to explain for this story.
No, all good.
Anyway, so there's like one time somebody put like a sweatshirt under the belt heater, and it got stuck, and it like started smoking, and just so we're sitting there with shirts. My teacher was like, grab the shirts and like start like fanning everything out. So we grab shirts that are like done and start fanning everything out. But this one kid in my class takes a shirt with wet ink on it that wasn't dry, and he starts waving it, so the ink just gets all over the shirt.
Nah.
And there's smoke everywhere, and it's
dude, that's a mess.
It's so funny. And that's happened like twice. And then this kid who is now a junior, he was one of my friend's younger brothers. He texted me one day and he was like, oh, did you hear what happened at West? And I was like, no. What happened? And he was like, oh, we had a fire drill. Like, the new graphics teacher started the school on fire. And I was like, what? And so he wasn't a graphics teacher before. He was an English teacher, but he is now the graphics teacher, duh. And
wait, he wasn't a graphics teacher?
He was an English teacher, and now he's the new graphics teacher because our graphics teacher went to a different high school.
Okay.
Because they were like soccer coaches together, so they like taught whatever. He taught him like how to be one. And
how to be one.
And so my friend's little brother texted me and he was like, yeah, he started the school on fire, and I was like, oh my gosh, like how? And he goes, he left the flash heater on a shirt and it literally started on fire. Oh, so they had to do a fire, like they had to pull the fire alarms, and everyone went outside, and the old graphics, so like it was on like our Twitter, like our high school Twitter account, that like we had a fire drill, or not a drill, but like the fire alarm went off. Yeah. And the old graphics teacher commented on the post and just tagged the new graphics teacher.
That is so funny.
And he was like, it was like this you or something. Just tagged the new one. It was so funny.
Dude, there was one time
he's my favorite teacher. Keep going.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
But there was one time my mom came to a conference at my elementary school or whatever, and she like brought my brother and sister or whatever, and they're like, toddlers at this point or whatever. On the way out, my brother just pulls the fire alarm.
Have you ever wanted to pull a fire alarm? Because I want to.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be fun. Actually, wait, let me. I'll be right back.
You better not go pull the fire alarm in the hallway. If the fire alarm goes off, I'm nervous. Wait, Seb.
What's up?
Actually, listen to this because this is funny. So there was one time there was a fire drill that went off in this building. The one time that you walked out with literally no clothes on.
Hear me out.
He walked in with no clothes on but his shorts.
Yeah, so it's winter. It's snowing outside. It's probably borderline like 15 degrees.
Yeah.
Like 20 degrees. I went to bed at like 1:30 or something like that. So then the fire alarm goes off at 2 in the morning.
He just gets up.
I get up and I'm like, I'm literally like I couldn't even tell if I was still dreaming, you know what I'm saying? So I get up, like, there's like people yelling out in the hallway, like someone's banging on my door. I get out, my boy Ryan's like trying to push me through the stairwell, and I'm like, bro, like, chill out. And then we get outside, and I'm like, oh, this is like a fire drill or whatever. And I'm like, like 5-10 minutes or whatever. We're out there for probably half an hour because someone burnt some Kraft mac and cheese. And I'm sitting there. I only have my pants on. So I'm like out here nipping. Dogs are cold.
You didn't have shoes on?
I didn't have shoes on.
Okay.
I only had my shorts on. Which is disgusting, but like.
You know who pulled the fire alarm? Kate.
Oh, I didn't know that. She told me that.
So my RA pulled the fire alarm because she was working the front desk when this happened, and the cops came in, or whoever came in, and was like, okay, if you wanted to pull the fire alarm, like, he was just like, have you ever pulled the fire alarm? And she was like, no. He goes, do you want to? She was like, I don't know. And he was like, well, if you want to, now's your chance, because we have to pull it anyway.
Yeah.
So then she went and pulled it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I do remember her telling me that story.
Guess that's it.
Yeah, we talked about it. So, take care, brush your hair. Shout out, Meals by Cug Meals by Cooj on TikTok, because that's where that comes from. Take care, brush your hair, and you can lead a horse to water, but
Can't make him drink it.
ciao, ciao. Oh, where's the thing?